This week on PathLessPedaled, we visit Durham, North Carolina, known as Bull City, but could one day be Bike City.
We're on the American Tobacco Trail today, heading into downtown Durham, North Carolina. We're getting set to meet our host, who we have never met before, but we know that he's into bikes and he's promised us a bike tour of downtown. So we're less than a mile from downtown Durham now, and we have just met up with our host, Seth.
Hi.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got on a bike.
Let's see. A few years back, I changed jobs at my current job and realized that there was no point in me driving back and forth places, so I started bike commuting back and forth. And that made a big difference because it made life a whole lot easier because it's simply faster. Biking in downtown is just pretty easy, so I don't think there's any trouble. Last year, the bicycle coordinators put in, I want to say 20 or 30 new bike racks, so they're all dispersed throughout downtown, and it's really nice to be able to not have to chase around for some sort of post sign to find a place to park.
So we're riding on the American Tobacco Trail. Can you tell us a little bit about this trail that we're riding on and how it came to be?
Durham was originally all tobacco all the time, and this used to be a railroad trail or railroad bed for shipping things down and back and forth, ultimately probably to the coast from here. I'm not exactly certain where the other terminus is for this, or further down into Chatham. They converted it over to a bike trail, and it's become a fairly big-sized commuter trail at this point. There's a lot of folks who live south of town or on the trip south of town who work in downtown or work in one of the places connected to downtown, and they go back and forth to park. So it is a lot of traffic for commuters at this point, a sort of a major artery for commuters, because it ducks out, in many cases, upwards of 10 miles of a trip that you'd have to contend with cars or anything else.
Seth is not only a bike commuter, but he's also a Durham foodie and takes us to one of his favorite spots, Scratch Bakery. Phoebe Lawless is the owner of Scratch Bakery, and a few years back, actually probably 3 years back at this point, she wanted to sell pies and whatnot, and she ended up doing it through what's called a CSP, Community Supported Pie. You pay a certain amount every month and you get pies every week. We had what we called Pie Fridays, where we went on Fridays and picked up pie and came home and we had 3 little pies. Typically we'd have 2 savory pies and 1 dessert pie, and we'd have a salad and our little pies, and that was it. Oh, they had so much more than pie, folks. They had glorious, glorious bacon, asparagus, and potatoes, all of which was locally sourced. After lunch, we walked around the downtown streets of Bull City to explore its sights. We eventually made our way to the King's Daughters Inn, an enchanting bed and breakfast that was stylishly decorated and included a turn-down service with port and truffles. Perhaps more surprisingly was that the elevator could accommodate fully loaded touring bicycles without a problem. The next day, we met our next host, Andy Dingzer. He's been a bike commuter for 5 years and a randonneur for 2 years, all on a very unlikely bicycle.
This is my dumpster bike, which my wife actually found at a dumpster a few years ago. And she called me up, "You have to come look at this," and we drove over, and he said, "Yes, I'm such a pack rat, I had to grab it." Got a headlight that's just a little box filled with batteries and an on-off switch and a flashlight, one of these tactical flashlights with LEDs that have become popular lately. And I'm upgrading it slowly. Added a Brook saddle recently from somebody who couldn't break it in, so I'll give it a shot, see if I can break it in. These handlebars are from my childhood bike. I got rid of it a few years ago and I kept the handlebars as the only thing from it, so I preserved the past.
The next day we rode with Andy to the farmer's market. It's a downtown Durham institution. We walked through and absorbed the sights, sounds, and smells of Bull City. Little did we know that we were stumbling into a war between food trucks. One of which was Only Burger, the only burger you'll ever want. The place was packed. It seemed like half of Durham was there, so of course we got in line to see what all the madness was about.
Durham has this growing food cart culture, which is pretty cool. Just on this corner there's Only Burger, Korean barbecue, Mexican place, and a Californian place. So this is the Only Burger. So they use fresh patties, crispy vegetables, and proper pieces of bacon, nice and thick and juicy, not burnt. So definitely worth the wait.
So lest you get the idea that bike touring is all about food, we spent the rest of the day filling our minds as well as our bellies. We headed towards a museum of life and science to frolic among the butterflies. It was an amazing and beautiful experience to be surrounded by so many butterflies all at once. After we got our fill of our winged friends, we decided to move on and take a hike with dinosaurs. This is where we learned that a brontosaurus is no longer called a brontosaurus. A T-Rex is still pretty scary, and even fake dinosaurs get sick. It was an eventful day, and we ended this day, like we do many others, by hula hooping.